right, it is the middle of the week, and we already, that is in the Wednesday, and really I want to welcome you on board for the Kokoliriko live show, the middle of the week, that is Wednesday, and really it's a great pleasure having you on board. And today happens to be the 13th, that is of March, and really also it is a very, very big day, that is in terms of NRM registration update that we'll be able to keep up today. And we shall be also able to let you know of maybe how the exercise will be transpiring and how it will be going on, that is in the different parts of that is the Western sub-region, and we shall be able to also really keep you posted of maybe how it is going on, and maybe also in the other parts outside Western sub-region, for instance, in Acholi or Lango, and definitely we shall be able to do that. And remember, so many things have been happening. That is in relation to the week, and really so many things also did go on yesterday. And remember, it is also a busy week where we are seeing the nominations of, that is, candidates by EC going on, that is in Dokolo, to replace the fallen woman member of parliament, that is Cecilia Ogwal, going on. And 6 candidates so far have been already nominated, and we shall be able to really to also let you know of maybe what transpires in that area there, and we definitely have to let you know of maybe how ready you are to follow up with the politics in that area there. My name is FARISH Majid, and it's a great pleasure starting off your day with us, and this is the show that really you must always be part of, and you shouldn't miss it each and every mornings. That is from Mondays to Fridays. And remember, so many things are also going on today. Really, we shall be able to also keep you posted in line to that. And definitely, you must be part of the show, and really feel free also to share your comments with us on the various social media platforms, and we shall be able to also share them with the rest of the viewers. And that is the beauty of the Kokoliriko live show. And yesterday, so many things did go on, and really where we did see a lot of issues going on, and really where we are seeing maybe also both good and bad things happening. And really, somebody may be asking him or herself, what is that a bad thing that has happened? Definitely, we shall be able to sort of let you know of maybe what transpires in line to that. And now to begin off the discussions within Dokolo, which is also really within northern Uganda, really in Acholi sub-region there, and Lango, and this is where we want to begin off with the discussions there, and also let you know of maybe what is happening, because Lango is still part of northern Uganda, and as northern Uganda, we are one, and really also this is something where it is happening within our neighborhood, and these are our brothers within Lango sub-region, and we are still part of northern Uganda. And there where the former fallen member of parliament did pass on, that is the late Honorable Cecilia Ogwal. Now efforts are underway to actually have her replacement, and so far 6 candidates have been nominated by the EC to really compete, that is for the post there. And so many parties have have already fronted their candidates. Some of the candidates that have already fronted their candidates include the National Resistance Movement Party, who have actually fronted one, and then FDC is actually fronting the daughter to the late, and then UPC also has fronted the candidate, not forgetting the National Platform, who also, as well, I do understand, is going to front a candidate for these elections here. And really, who will be able to take over that position? That is something that will be decided by the voters. And 6 candidates were yesterday nominated by the Electoral Commission, that is to contest for the Dokolo parliamentary by-election, slated for March of 21st. So I think that is something also we shall be able to see. Maybe somebody could be out there asking him or herself, who are these candidates that got nominated? And these candidates who got nominated by the EC to succeed the late legislator include her daughter, that is Rosemary Aloch, under the Forum for Democratic Change, and then Miss Janet Adongo Elau, who is affiliated to National Resistance Movement, not forgetting Sarah Aguti Yankoro of Uganda Post Congress, Dr. Esther Akuro Abot Otonda, and Dr. Anna Lalam, all independent candidates. And these are the candidates whom we did see getting nominated there, and who exactly will be able to maybe have replaced. So that is something also definitely we do not know yet. And Miss Harriet, again of National Unity Platform, was equally nominated as well, and really you cannot also leave a National Unity Platform out, and you also realize that they also did front their candidates now. And the returning officers, Mr. Stephen Ngobi, said 7 aspirants picked the nomination forms, but 6 were nominated yesterday. And what did the candidates say after the nominations? Dr. Akulo Obot said she has chosen, that's a symbol of ball, and feel very excited about the trajectory in the elections, that is in the forthcoming elections that will be able to take place in Dokolo. And she went on to thank the Electoral Commission for doing a wonderful job as an aspirant, really under the independent candidate, and as an independent, and that as an independent candidate, that is also really her message in terms of how she got nominated. And definitely she also expressed her joy, and definitely right now all these candidates will be able to really start their campaigns now. And Dr. Aloch Agwal under the Forum for Democratic Change thanked the FD Secretariat and the people of Lango sub-region for the support rendered to her so far, and she feels very excited about this. And all these candidates are very excited about their nominations, and really also we did see the UPC candidate commenting about the same, where she said she has just finished her nomination and now she is ready to start doing her campaigns and really are waiting for the voting day. All these candidates are now very, very eager, and all of them are optimistic to really also ensure that they take over this position that is in the forthcoming elections that is slated for March 21st, which is really not very, very far, because you realize that there are very few days now to that, about 2 weeks, to see to it that really they also engage in these elections. Not actually 2 weeks, but 1 week and some days, definitely for them to also really be part of these elections. Yeah, what does that mean? What are the people of Dokolo going to decide? Definitely that is something also we do not know at the moment, but really it will be entirely dependent on them to choose who their next legislator as the woman member of parliament will be, and that definitely tells us maybe the best candidate who maybe also has the conditions or maybe the criteria they feel that they will be able to choose them will be able to come from there, because at times we say leadership comes from God, and that is why maybe the one who is going to take over that position is already known by the voters, and really that is where I want some other discussions with. But you can feel free and let us know maybe who do you think will be able to take over that position there. But really where we have also witnessed where a legislator dies, you realize that most of the voters at times also want to ring-fence the position for the family members. That is why in most cases they tend to vote that is family members. But really, is that the way to go? That is also something that I want to post to you there as the viewer, and really you can also share your view with us in terms of maybe what you feel is going on and maybe how best they should choose, and what criteria, what advice do you have for them so that when they're going to the ballots, they can really choose the right candidate. That is also something I'm leaving to you as the viewer. You may share your comments with us on the various comment sections or platforms, and let the viewers out there also know, maybe the voters of Dokolo can use maybe in terms of also voting their next candidate. And leaving that aside, low smartphone uptake is affecting digital transformation agenda. That is according to information from Uganda Communications Commission, and that is also something we're seeing here now. How many people have smartphones? That is definitely something that we are yet following up on, but really it is becoming a reality that in this era to live without a smartphone is now becoming very, very difficult, where the smartphones are doing a lot of things that maybe the computers could not do, and we are realizing that the smartphones are actually more easier to use than any other gadget. And the Executive Director of Uganda Communications Commission, that is Mr. Nyombi Thembo, has said that the low penetration of smartphones in Uganda is affecting the digital transformation agenda. And she made these remarks while speaking at the launch of official preparations of the 2024 Global Symposium for Regulators of 2024 in Kampala on Tuesday. Mr. Nyombi said that 22% smartphone penetration in Uganda is still low and making it difficult to fully drive the digital agenda. And that is something also we are seeing here. The ICT Ministry, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, last year launched digital transformation roadmap, which aims at strengthening the implementation of enabling policies and laws to accelerate Uganda's digital revolution. So that is something that we also did see going on. Really, the roadmap also aims to provide an overarching implementation framework for a well-connected Uganda that delivers on the opportunities presented by various technologies. Really, in this era, can we live without smartphones? Maybe also without embracing the digital technology that we are talking about. That definitely tells us no, we may not be able to also live in a world that really without this, because all the sectors, I must say, are very, very much interrelated when it comes to these issues of smartphones. You realize that for us to live without embracing digital technology now, it may become very, very difficult for us, because you realize that if you live without the smartphones now, you may be able to be left out as the digital agenda moves on. And the State Minister for National Guidance, Mr. Godfrey Kabianga, said the government is increasing funding that is in the ICT sector to ensure an increase in connectivity to be able to drive the growth. So I think that is something also we are seeing here. And really, that is also something I must say we must embrace. And the GSR will be hosted in Uganda between July 1st and 4th, and will attract over 700 players in the ICT sector, including that is policymakers, regulators, representatives, and from industry, academia, and international and regional organizations in the field of digital development. Really, you realize that maybe one reason still why the uptake of ICT is still low is the cost. Because you realize that you get to realize that maybe at times when these gadgets are to be imported, they are at times very, very expensive, and really also that taxes are very high. That is why most often these importers of these gadgets have asked government to also really ensure that taxes that is put on these gadgets needs to be reduced, because they are quite expensive. And you realize that these gadgets are a bit cheaper outside, but really to bring them into this country is very, very expensive. And that is why we also really see the uptake still very, very much low there. And really moving on that, still in relation to ICT, teachers in West Nile sub-region are being trained, that is on ICT skills at Moni National Teachers College, Moni, and INTC actually rolled out the training of these teachers yesterday at the school, where we did see 100 teachers from various parts of West Nile sub-region, from selected schools also, attending this training here, and they're being trained on ICT skills, because really you realize that where the world is moving, the issues of books may not be able to be necessary, where issues of books and chalks may not be very, very much applicable in this area here, because if you realize that maybe where we're going, and in most parts of the region now, for instance, central Uganda, you realize that during COVID, teachers were busy teaching the learners, while ours were busy here walking around the streets, or loitering, playing. But while in central Uganda, teachers were undertaking their teachings, and really when time came for classes, their learners were very much serious, and for them, they were already ahead of us. And that is one reason also we were left out when it came to that issue of ICT, which is still lacking, and parents have also been blamed for that, because really sometimes they still feel their children need not to get access, that is to the computers and internet, which is a great challenge, which also really to me is because sometimes these learners get to misuse these ICT skills and that they do have, for instance, through watching bad things that are not really very, very good, which also really had its own negative repercussions. And now really to embrace this, teachers have been advised and called upon to embrace, that is ICT skills, because really without the ICT skills, you will be able to realize that this may not be able to really also go on. And yesterday, where we did see the launch going on, attended by some of the security leaders, because this event was graced by the IRCC, that is Charles Ichogor of Arua City, who actually asked the teachers to actually take advantage of ICT, that they will be able to use it to tap into the opportunities that in the forthcoming government programs, that is of NERA, that we will be able to go on to register the nationals. And really also not forgetting that the renewal of IDs will also be going on, and then so many things, so many initiatives will be able to come through. That is really part-time jobs where so many recruitments are going to be made. And he actually asked the teachers now to be ready for these opportunities with this. And also we did see the Regional Police Commander Deputy, that is Ochama Dennis, also really commenting about the same, where he asked the teachers and now to also ensure that they embrace digital technology with the changes ready for them to actually also be part of the moving agenda, because we're moving, whether you like it or not, the world is getting transformed. That is why Moni University actually rolled out the training of these teachers here, which is quite good. I've been Moni NTC. Really, also we did see the principal, that is Aliwaru Daisy Philiam, also commenting about the same. And she actually said why they want to train the teachers ahead of time is because under the national teacher policy that is coming up, it may not be necessary for those teachers to really also not be ready to be for these challenges. And that is why they have secured the funds, and now they want to roll out the training. And this training also aims to impart skills on these teachers, skills, for instance, in teaching. And really in this area you realize that for teachers, where already for them they're implementing it, where really I do understand that at Moni National Teachers College already they have embraced the issues related to ICT, where they're already teaching their teachers through, that is ICT skills. And the teachers also really likewise are now imparting, using the skills to also impart on the learners through changing education, because you realize that the education sector is changing. I did mention to you earlier on, during COVID-19, while our children in the other parts of the region, maybe for instance northern Uganda, we are busy home. Children in central Uganda, we are busy learning. And really what does that mean? It means that that puts them ahead of us, and that is also why we must ensure that we embrace technology so that we move at the same path. So I think that is why it is very important for everybody out there to embrace technology, because once we do not embrace technology, I must say, we will continue to lag behind in terms of development, and really also in terms of education. And really you realize that also most of our schools are still continue to be with challenges of, that is, overwhelming population in the schools. Most of the UPE schools, you realize that the population is very much high. But how do we maybe curtail the increase in numbers? That is also something definitely, if at all we embrace technology, we'll be able to also really ensure that we also draw means to this. Because if your teacher learners using projectors now, some child who is behind there will also really get this clearly. And if we embrace this, then definitely if the teachers first of all purchase funds also seek funds to ensure that this is helped, and then definitely we may also be able to embrace the ICT skills, which to me is the way to go, because in this era where everybody is expected to be with smartphones, for instance, as a teacher now, if you do not have a smartphone, then definitely you may be asked by a student, because, a student or pupil, a certain question that you may not have answers to, because the child will be ahead of you, because for them they will have knowledge, and for a teacher to be more knowledgeable, definitely that calls for research, and for research, for you to conduct well research nowadays with the internet, it is becoming quite easy there. So I think that is why ICSP Dennis Ocham actually made the call, because you get to realize today most of these learners have the smartphones at their homes, and as a teacher, if you are still failing to abide by ICT, because recently I was at one of the schools really in the rural city here where it was actually a challenge where ICT was introduced for the teachers. Some of the teachers were very much hesitant. They were actually rejecting issues to embracing that is the technology, which to them is a challenge, and really they were saying it is difficult for them to learn, and that is why they did not want to really also embrace the ICT skills. But now forcibly they were actually forced to do it, and they embrace technology, and now they're moving on well. And that is why we have to always embrace technology, because it may not be easy. The start may not always be easy. It will always be difficult with a lot of challenges, but nonetheless, we all have to really ensure that we embrace technology, because really, you know that a lot of the notes can be put online, and really children may learn via Zoom. It doesn't need where, for instance, it may also need maybe a teacher to be in class, and the teacher may be home, and really just connect the students or pupils via Zoom or other platforms, which may also be very applicable. And really I want to now call upon each and everybody now to embrace technology. As parents, let's support our children, let's guide them, because the issues of immorality among that comes with the internet or the online education is a reality, because we realize that some of the learners also may be able to want to engage in that is the immoral practices. And really with that we come to our first break of the show. This is the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile TV channel 0073, and we are still moving on. That is up the hour line, and for now let's first take this short commercial break, and we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on StarTimes. StarTimes brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13th, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your StarTimes subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. StarTimes, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are continuing with the morning show, that is the Kokoliriko Live, that comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays. That is from the hour of 7 to 9 a.m. My name is FARISH Majid. It's a great pleasure having you on board from wherever you are watching us from. And definitely this is the show where we shall be letting you know of what is happening right from the region to the national scene and internationally. And you must always be part of the show. And remember, you can also participate on the show as well through sharing your comments on the comment section. And we shall be able to read them loudly and clearly and also share them with the rest of the viewers. And really, that is also something that we did go, before we did go for the break, we did have a lot of issues being discussed here. The issues ranging from the ICT skills that need to be imparted, where it is becoming a reality now that we may not be able to exist in a time where there's no ICT, because you is watching us online right now. That is already ICT, which we must all embrace. And really, without internet, then definitely you realize that some people's lives may become very difficult. Where I remember some time back when Facebook was just switched off for some few period of time, people were really going through hell, and really that shows us that some of these things have now become part of our life. And really also when we did realize that WhatsApp also really was also switched off for some few minutes, some people already were going through a lot, they got panicked. And then for those who are also using other WhatsApp maybe types, for those of you using WhatsApp GB, or I do understand that some of you also using WhatsApp TM are already complaining because this has actually been scrapped off, and really you're facing a lot of challenges now. That tells us the risk that comes with it. Some people are now scared about it, and that shows us that we may not be able to live in a period that is without ICT now. It's quite simple. We must embrace it because digital transformation is the way to go, and it is the right that from which we cannot run away. And moving away from that, the National Resistance Movement Party is expected to kick off. That is the party membership and renewal and registration exercise. That is on Wednesday across the country. And the exercise that begins today on the 13th. We'll be able to run, that is until 17th. And really that shows us how ready we must be. Because for those who have affiliated the party, and then definitely you must also really ensure that you run to the nearest maybe LC1 chairperson of yours, such that the registrar who is waiting for you could get your details, and really the details will be able to be included. That is on the system, the online system, that where you will be able to have your names written, that is in the yellow book, and after which you will be able to be also ready to issue and get your yellow card. And that is one reason I must say, if you at all you want to participate, that is in the forthcoming party primaries elections, and definitely this is the time, because if you not perform right, or if you don't participate in the election right now, you will be able to be termed as not a member, and your existence with the party will be null and void. And I must say now we must also ensure maybe those who have led the party rush out to the nearest agencies or nearest LCs, such that you can get yourselves registered. And that is one thing I also want to say now we must embrace, and we are going to be following up on the exercise. Tomorrow we shall be able to also discuss more about this event and how maybe day one progresses. And that is one reason I must say we must also really impress. And those who are affiliated the party, definitely you should also be part of that. And speaking during an engagement meeting with party mobilizers on Tuesday, the head of that is Office of National Chairman, Hajat Namialo Adija, said that the exercise aims at expanding the membership scale of ruling party ahead of 2026 general elections. And remember, so many of these party members are already optimistic, and really we did have a meeting recently with the NRM leadership of our district. They actually told us they look forward to have an increase, that is of the party members in the forthcoming exercise, and which starts today, the 5-day exercise. That starts today on 13th. We'll be able to run till the 15th, 17th, and that is one thing also I want to say. Maybe those who have led the party, you need to ensure that within these days, actually, you run to the nearest, maybe LC1 place where you actually come from, because this is an exercise that is done per village, and such that maybe the LCs to whom you are going must actually identify maybe that you are a member, because if you come from somebody else, you may not be able to be allowed to actually go on with this exercise here. And that is why it is very, very important. And really for those who are actually where this exercise is going to go on, you must rush to the nearest place. And this is where the registrar will be able to get your details. And Ms. Namialo added that updating party registrar, that is the yellow book, kicks off, that is the preparations for general elections as the first phase, that is in the party's roadmap to internal elections and the general elections. So for you to be part of this, then definitely you must be able to also be able to do this exercise, because once you ignore it, and then definitely you may not be able to so really have chance, that is to participate in the party's affairs. So for the one who may not be able to want to vote, you also have the chance maybe to desist from the exercise. And President Museveni, also the party chairman, while launching the exercise last month, urged the party cadres to clearly understand that the 4 core principles of the NRM, that is patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation and democracy, such that they can also solve the problems of Ugandans. And that is definitely something also really we want some other discussion with. And we say now, for those who actually are part of this party, then definitely this is the way to go. You must embrace this exercise that is going to take place from today. And really also, you must also really maybe get yourselves ready for that. And that brings us to the close of the discussion. Now let's move to Kayunga, where parents have dragged their teacher to police over embezzlement of funds. And definitely that is something also we did see going on on Monday. So I think this is something also that did go on, and then really, at this time, so many cases of corruptions are being registered. You realize that also in Madiokolo, the cow has been arrested, that is for causing financial loss while still serving at Bugiri, and we will be able to sort of let you know more in relation to that. And that really tells us maybe the people are not ready. Issues of corruption going on very, very well. Is the fight, are we achieving? That is the fight against corruption with so many of these interventions that have been put in place. Now, IG right now is the one that is following up. And we also did see recently also so many entities coming up, because there are so many entities government has created that is to fight corruption. But are they doing enough when it comes to combating the issues of corruption? And pupils at Nakatuli Primary School in Galilaya Sub-County in Kayunga District on Monday thrown that is into confusion following the dramatic arrest of their head teacher by parents. And really this is something also we did see going on, and it is quite a shame. It is quite a shame for maybe the head teacher to be arrested, but really has it been that corrupt? That is also something that we want to understand. And the arrest and subsequent handover to Nakatuli police station of Miss Gertrude Mutesi at around 3 p.m. followed numerous complaints over her failure to account for sharing 7 million development fund, and this is by the parents. And now Miss Mutesi, according to Mr. Yunus Sewandeke, the school's Parents Teachers Association member chairperson, was arrested during a meeting convened by area leaders and school authorities at the school to get accountability for the funds. And really this is something also we did see going on. And Mr. Joel Kaira, the Galilaya Sub-County Councillor, explained that during the heated meeting, Ms. Mutesi was tasked to avail the accountability of the funds, but failed and instead denied any wrongdoing by parents who pinned her. So I think that is something also really we did see going on. And she was later allowed to be taken, that is to police, for where this distance is about 5 kilometers away from the school, while on a motorcycle, where we did see actually her being accompanied by a parent really who did sit after her really behind her. And this is something which we did see. We must say it is quite a shame, because really you realize that some of these teachers are eating these grants really without really also accounting for them. And the complaints are usually sometimes also that parents do not want to participate in registering their children, which really also gets the numbers of the children where they also really get these grants from. No, that is a challenge really. We must say this is something also really we must also deny. And Mutesi, however, denied wrongdoing, insisting she has no problem to work with the workstation, and these are just mere allegations. And this is something also we did see going on. But really, is this just mere allegations? That is something I did not know, but I will be able to really interest myself in wanting to understand this, because so many of these head teachers, more so in the UPE schools, continue to eat the monies without necessarily accounting for them. And that is why these arrests are very, very important, and really where we want to also see the results, we want to see the value for money, because these are government funds and they come. And we would want to see maybe value for them, and want to see them being accounted for, because you realize that some of these UPE schools where the performances are very low, it is because the funds are being misused. Money that is meant maybe for paying chalks or paying teachers can be consumed by some of these head teachers, which is really very, very unfair. And really, if at all we want to realize maybe also an improvement in the performance of our learners from this region, then definitely we have to do a lot when it comes to issues of fighting against corruption, which is really a deadly vice that has been eating up our society. And really, if at all we want to see an improvement, as I said earlier on, then we will have to fight corruption together. Mr. Kaira said the teacher had last year accepted to refund, that is shillings 7 million, and which she had allegedly embezzled, but brought only shillings 800,000. Dan Bubali, the Kayunga District Education Officer, said the teacher would be recalled from the school as investigations into the matter go on, and that is just something we shall be able to really let you know. Is the investigation just going to end like that? Because at times you realize that some of these public holders also, once they are being pinned like this, the investigations don't end, and you just find them returning back to office without any proper accountability. Where is the gap? I feel to be that also really is promoting corruption, and really, if at all we are to realize maybe the fight against corruption, and then definitely we have to continue the fight that is in line to that. Mr. Dan Sekawa, the Nakatuli police station, also said Ms. Mutesi faces charge of embezzlement of funds meant to refurbish some of the dilapidated classroom blocks. Really, that is something we are seeing here now, and which we must condemn, because issues now of infrastructure, which and really realize also in this sub-region where the infrastructure is very, very dilapidated, that also really is contributing to poor performance of learners in this region here, because once the children are sitting in an environment in which they're not comfortable with, their brains will definitely be divided, and once the brains are divided, we do not expect maybe to see also an improvement in performance, and really that also really drags down our learners. That also really affects the progress of our learners when it comes to issues of academic performance, and that is one reason we must condemn issues of corruption. And moving away from that, Uganda loses massive wealth, that is to illicit financial flows, that is according to information from DPP. So I think that is something that we are seeing here on the papers. And the Director of Public Prosecution, Justice Francis Abodo, has called for strengthening of the capacity of institutions involved, that is in the fight against money laundering and terrorism financing crimes, which is still going on in the country. And Abodo said the National Task Force should effectively, that is, coordinate with all government approach, that is in relation to the crimes, that is illicit financial flows, which is really a great challenge. You realize that money continues to enter without any proper accountability, and that definitely also really affects the economy. And it is estimated that Uganda loses about shillings 2 trillion every year, that is to illicit financial flow, and the figure is likely to be higher given the global disparities. So I think that this is something we are seeing happening. The issues of illicit financial flows goes on, and she made these remarks while addressing different government agencies: Uganda Revenue Authority, Financial Intelligence Authority, Office of, that is the Director of Public Prosecutions, Uganda Police, Uganda Wildlife, and the Inspector General of Government on possible ways of eliminating financial crimes that's in the country, while attending the meeting that is at the Mestel Hotel in Kampala on Friday. And this meeting was under the theme Enhanced Collaboration, that's in the fight against illicit financial flows. The meeting agreed on trainings and capacity building, that is in strengthening information. So I think that is also where we have seen maybe all these challenges could be coming from. It could just be as a result of information gap. So I think that is something also really we as citizens have to fight against, because this is corruption, and definitely we have to also protect the economy by fighting these financial illicit flows, because once they continue to go on, then definitely the economy is the one that is very, very much affected by that. And while representing Uganda URA Commissioner, Justice General Robert Mutebi, said that the IFFs are very restrained, that is to Uganda, that is to revenue mobilizations, and that is also something we did see going on there. He went on to urge prosecutors and investigators to be more vigilant while doing their work, because really if they continue to do their work while not really also being focusing, and then definitely we may also continue to see these illicit money flows going on. Other areas of discussion included trade, that is MIS invoicing, evading customs duties, value-added tax, income tax, on a corrupt, that is also a corrupt public official using anonymous shell, that's non-existent companies, to transfer unclean money, that is to another country, a human trafficker carrying, that's a briefcase of cash across the country, illegal mineral trade, and really also trafficking a member of terrorist organization, wiring money from one region to another. Really, that is something that we are seeing under this issue here that could be causing the financial illicit flows. And Uganda off the grey list, really that's something we are seeing. By getting off the grey list, we can really demonstrate that we are fighting money laundering, terrorism, and financing, and also professional financing, which we are not really putting on the fire. We are not ready. We are just a political commitment. That was the remark of that is Kikiriza Esther Gakira, the manager of strategic analysis and statistics from the Ministry of Finance. That is also where she did say the issues of this money for laundering is still a challenge, because this financial illicit flows really continue to go on despite these several initiatives that government is putting up in place. Where is the gap now? That is also a challenge, maybe as the relevant authorities, that you should be asking yourself, maybe if you identify the challenge, then what solution do you draw towards addressing this challenge of illicit financial flows? That would really be quite good, so that the government does not continue to lose money. For instance, maybe the government workers who steal these monies and really maybe take it to other countries, that would also really very much avoid the issues of financial illicit flows there. And other areas agreed upon include, that is pooling ideas, resources and energies together to devise innovative and effective strategies to combat the financial crimes. That is something that we are seeing happening ongoing there, and that definitely also maybe brings us to the challenge. The question, are we ready for the fight against that illicit financial flows? And what can the government do maybe to also avert some of these challenges that continue to go on, and despite several of these government initiatives to see to it that these issues of illicit financial flows are really combated. And moving away from that, Soroti Fruit Factory gets more land for expansion. Really, this factory has over time had challenges. You realize that sometimes it is off, and legislators also have to come and complain that it is not producing juice, maybe it's not doing enough. And then we also see now land being given to it. What is the challenge? Maybe where has the challenge been? That is also another challenge that we want to ask. And Uganda Investment Authority has offered 5 acres Soroti Fruit Factory, that is for expansion. Are we going to be seeing it expanding? Maybe why don't we use that land that is for growing the fruits that which has always maybe at times lacked, which also puts the factory at standstill. That would also really be quite good in my own opinion. And the development was announced by Julius Ekomo, the Chief Executive Officer, Soroti Fruit Factory, during an interview really recently. And he also revealed that the government was ready to commit, that is shillings 56 billion as working capital, with a big chunk allocated for expansion. That is something we did see. However, Ekomo called on the leaders to continue sensitizing farmers to take juice so that the factory can buy more oranges and really also mangoes from them. And remember, the population really, if you don't buy the juice, then definitely the factory may not be able to get capital, because they entirely get their capital, that is through what we purchase, and that is how they get their monies. And that is also something I want to now call upon the citizens of this country to embrace the juice. And also the call to the factory, or maybe the juice producers, is also that let them embrace maybe the quality, and let the quality of the juice be very high, so that maybe people who are going to purchase the juice can go back and purchase the juice more and more. And then maybe also let them do enough adverts so that people get to recognize this juice which we're talking about. And last week, President Museveni said the government will expand the Soroti Fruit Factory so that it operates at the desired capacity. That is something we are seeing here. And despite the low payment, Museveni said the citrus farming paid more than cotton. That it is so engaged in. That is in the early 1980s. That is also something I must say. If at all there is now deviation, if the people are supposed to move from the cotton, then they could also actually now engage in that is planting of these mango trees, which would actually have ready market for them. With the establishment of the factory in their area, one would actually engage in the planting of trees, of these mango trees, so that they produce the fruits that this factory needs for production of the juice. And the factory, according to Okomo, processes 6 metric tons of oranges every 6 hours, which translates to 144,000 kilograms a day and 960,000 kilograms in a session of 3 months. That is something that we are seeing here, and this is quite a lot. And really, this is actually something that is being now consumed by traders in Kenya. Now, if at all these farmers here could actually embrace the same, we will be able to realize maybe the factory also realizing its own capital, such that it stands on its own, and then we would be able to see a smooth running of that factory there. And Soroti Fruit Factory is the first government processing plant that's in Teso after the collapse of meat packers built during Obote I regime. And that's also something we are seeing going on there. And recently, during a recent farmers meeting at Atur, that is in Kumi district, Ekomo explained that money that the government allocated for the purchase of the fruit was inadequate compared to the high yields. So that is something also we did see going on there. And we are saying now, recently also the complaint government named Onapitu the factory board chairman, and he formerly served as the board chair of Nile Breweries. So now he's coming with that experience, and definitely we expect him also to impart the experience on this factory, because that experience is very much needed for the growth of this factory here. And during the interaction with stakeholders in Teso Sub-Region, Apilito pledged that within 3 years the factory will be able to fulfill its mandate. He also challenged the Itesos to also become the first consumers of the product. So I think that is something we are seeing going on there. And if at all, maybe we want to realize the issues of that is where we want to also realize maybe the factory becoming independent, maybe also standing on its own like we wanted to, then definitely as people of the area, we first of all have to embrace that juice there. We have to identify with it and we have to own it. That definitely will also really translate into what we want it to become. Because if we do not consume the juice, then who exactly is going to consume the juice? Because other people outside may not be able to solely consume that juice that we want it to be consumed there. So I want to call upon each and everybody out there to ensure maybe also get getting related to this juice. We have to affiliate ourselves to this juice here, because once we start purchasing it, then definitely other people out there may also really embrace it, because usually we say charity begins at home. This goes to the poor, that is Tesos region. That is why it is very, very important for them now to actually embrace the juice. And then people of other areas, for instance, northern Uganda, we would also really plant the mango trees, and then we supply the factory juice when the demand is there. So I think that would also really earn money for us, as the factory also will generate money to really also maybe add up to the economy. That because government invests money, the government expects the returns. That is from the factory, because really you realize that today so many people are going to be employed, that both directly and indirectly with the factory there, and really that does summarize the discussion as we run out of time. Let's now move to Parliament, where the Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, chaired by Mr. Mwanga Chivumbi, really on Thursday through officials, that's of the Office of the Prime Minister, over failure to adhere to the instructions issued before their interface with the MPs. And that is something that we are seeing maybe going on quite unfairly there, where officials, that is from off-PM, can be thrown out and really not for abiding by the instructions that is put in place by the MPs. And the issue that was meant to probe, that's OPM, on queries raised in the 2022-2023 Auditor General's report, was called off after the OPM team was without officials who had been in office during the audit period. And really, who are these that we are going to account now, really, and you expect maybe proper answers? Because really, those who were maybe also sent, which I believe were not right. So I think this is something that did go on, and legislators were particularly displeased. That is with the OPM team that was led by the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Dunstan Balaba, after allegedly failing to heed the instructions that's in the invitation letter. So I think this is something that we did see going on, and without disclosing names, Mr. Balaba stated that OPM had 3 accounting officers during the year under review, 2 of which have been interdicted under undisclosed grounds. And we could also really see maybe these officers being brought from even being interdiction. We can tell them, come and explain, because they have to come on account really for these monies that they wasted. These are government funds, and to which they have to explain and answer. And that is something we did see going on there. And there were attempts, that is to press Mr. Rose Alenga, the immediate former acting permanent secretary, to respond to the audit queries that would be raised by the time really she refused. But really she refused. That's something we did see going on there. And Mr. Mwanga Chivumbi then asked Mr. Balaba to fetch and deliver the required accounting officer before the committee to answer the queries in the next session that will be able to take place. That's on Friday morning. Yes, this is something we want to see, because even if the person has been interdicted, where is he? And what has he done to come and explain the money? Where did he put the money? This is something also really we want to see going on and on. The committee is among others expected to probe, that is, into the Iron Sheet saga, irregularities that surrounding the staff recruitment, and however their salaries were also made during the year under review, because we realize that the OPM has a lot of challenges which they have to really come on board and respond to. And some of these, maybe these queries also really could be asked by these MPs during this time of procession here, but also where they did present the required officers, then that is quite unfortunate. And I must say that is one thing also really we did not really go on well there. So I think that is one reason that they were thrown out for, and really we expect now them to come with substantive answers when the right time comes, when it comes to these issues of answering to these queries. And moving on from that, fund your malaria fight. That is something that donors have told Uganda. What does this mean? Because malaria still remains a deadly disease, killing so many Ugandans today, and realize that malaria fights have always been there and they have been supported by donors. And now donors are telling us that we must fund our malaria fight, which to me is now very, very challenging, because we have entirely been dependent, that is, on donors for the funds. The Health Minister, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, has said development partners have asked Uganda and other countries with high malaria burden to take charge of the fight through increased domestic funding. Now, what does this mean? Because where we have been depending on funds, most of the nets have been mostly we have been getting them from these countries and through donations. And now, what does this mean? I really want to also question now, maybe as members of public, what do you think is going to really cost us, and how do you think this is going to greatly impact on us? That is something also you, as the viewer, may also share your view with us. And Dr. Chen narrated that this government, this is the government officials and health experts on Tuesday during the 10th National Healthcare Quality Improvement Conference in Entebbe. And the minister said there is need to reduce that wastage of resources and increase commitment and efficiency in service delivery to sustain the gains which we are really talking about. And according to the statement that is by the World Health Organization on March 6th, the Malaria Ministerial Conference in Yaoundé, in Cameroon, brought together ministers of health and senior government officials from 11 high-burden to high-impact countries, that is in Africa, where they did actually have a discussion and dialogue on issues of malaria. And the countries include Burkina Faso, Cameroon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Nigeria, South Sudan, Uganda, Mali, Mozambique, and Tanzania, who are actually on this list here. And the World Health Organization said the countries were joined by global malaria partners with funding agencies, civil society organizations, and other principal stakeholders. Really, that's something we are seeing going on there. And really, where does this fight against malaria put us at? Because you realize that really the issues of malaria fight have always paved, that is a great challenge to us, and these have posted a great challenge where we have seen our lives, our children actually losing a lot of, where we have lost a number of our children to this disease, because you realize that our children are very vulnerable to this, and really these issues of the malaria fight have often been there as a great challenge. And really we are saying now, where do this, maybe the rejection of funding, maybe how will it impact on us? That definitely also tells us that we are going to face a great rough challenge when it comes to these issues here that is in relation to the malaria fight. And that definitely tells us we must be prepared, and government of Uganda must now also reduce on the funding, maybe also reduce on the spendings when it comes to spending, or that is on the fight of malaria. So as the citizens, we have to be very careful, and we have to protect ourselves from malaria. That is really something we have to call upon each and everybody to ensure that they, when they're at their homes, let them protect themselves from malaria. The areas where they think that they could be acting as breeding grounds need to be fulfilled. And this can also be quite simple by digging the bushes around, and really also clearing those grasses around where which could be acting as breeding grounds to these mosquitoes. And really that does bring us to our second break. And really we shall be able to bounce, that is after the second break, after the break. And really for now, let's first run for this short commercial break, and when we return, we shall be able to also let you know more other topics. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Right, this period you will be able to realize that so many accident cases are being registered in several parts that's within the country, and really where we did see yesterday also one person confirmed dead. That is by Uganda police after being involved in an accident. That is by a YY bus. That is really something we did see also getting to know about yesterday. And really, what does this mean? Where the accident cases have registered very, very much high during this period, that is also something that really I want to pose to you as the viewer of the show. And really, yesterday, police confirmed one person dead after a bus accident that is in Arua City. And according to Josephine Anguchia, the accident involving a truck that was belonging to YY coaches happened. That is on Tuesday. That was yesterday, the 12th of March at Awika Bridge, that's in Arivu sub-county along Arua Nebi Highway. And around 30 people were injured, that is also as a result of that accident, and we are rushed, that is to Kuluva Hospital for medical attention. And the one person who died was identified as Okelo, who is a resident of Paida, and where we did see also this happening. You realize that so many accident cases within this period, and really recently the police report was also released, and where we didn't see a lot of accident cases going on. And this year we realized that so many accident cases are being just within this period. And what does that mean? Could it be that maybe the road users are not abiding by laws that are in place, or could it be that our roads are the cause of these accidents? Really, that's something that maybe we want to make an understanding of, because during this period you will be able to realize that so many accident cases are being registered on a daily basis. And these accidents continue to claim several lives. And what does that mean? Maybe what can be done to avert some of these challenges, despite the several campaigns that the Uganda police force under the traffic officers are doing. We have seen them actually doing a lot. And recently we did actually have, that is the spokesperson for traffic police coming to Arua. And this is Michael Kananura, who actually came up to Arua, where we did go with him after Arua Primary School to educate the pupils who are in most cases most vulnerable to these border accidents, and where we have seen them losing their lives. What is the challenge, and really what can be done to solve these challenges is also another question that we must also always ask ourselves, because really you tend to realize that so many of these accident cases continue to go on, and really they continue to claim lives. And really, if that is the case, what can be done to avert some of these challenges is the question now I want to pose to you. And let's say both vehicles were coming from Nobi, and in front of the truck followed by the bus. The driver of the truck slowed down to dodge, that is a pothole. The driver of the bus continued to speed, hence hitting the truck from behind and off the road, making it overturn. And this is something also we did see yesterday, and really this is quite sad. And we must ensure that once we're on these roads, let's pray for our loved ones. Let's ensure that we pray for ourselves, because these accidents continue to happen each and every day now. That means that we have to ensure individual responsibility. We must ensure that we are very, very much vigilant on these roads. We have to ensure that we are very careful once we're on these roads, such that we are not left out, because these issues of the road accidents are very, very much rampant now. And moving on from that, let's move now to Madiokolo, where the chief administrative officer for that area there was arrested. This is Mr. Ezaruku Kazmiro, who was arrested a few days ago, and it was yesterday, together with 9 other officials of Bugiri District Local Government for allegedly causing financial loss of 1.2 billion district, that is to Bugiri District Local Government, where he served as the chief administrative officer before being transferred to Madiokolo. And the 9 Bugiri District Local Government officials include, that is the chief financial officer, the chief accountant, that is the senior accountant, that is the assistant accountant, the district education officer, deputy chief administrative officer, the district production officer, the district engineer, and the district planner. These were actually the people who were arrested. And now, in response to this, state lines up, that is 92 witnesses, in the Bugiri shillings 1.2 billion fraud case. This is something also really we did see now happening yesterday, where the state has fronted a total of, that is 92 witnesses against these people who have been pinned. And will they really come out? That is because right now they have been that is detained at Chitalia as we await for final judgment from court, and then court ruling will be deciding of who exactly may be wrong. That is in relation to this financial loss here. And the state has lied. That is up to 92 witnesses to testify. That's against 10 Bugiri district officials accused of that is causing financial loss of shillings 1.2 billion. That's just something we are seeing here. And the accused include that Mr. Ezaruku Kazimiro, 59 years old, who is the Chief Administrative Officer for Madio Colonel, Mr. Mustafa Nyende, 59, the Chief Finance Officer, Mr. Abdallah Waiswa, who is 52 years, who is the Senior Accountant, and Ms. Minsa Atoire, 51 years old, who is the Senior Accounts Assistant, Mr. Fred Bazibu, who is 31 years, who is the Assistant Accountant, and not forgetting Mr. Henry Kaburo, 58 years, who is the District Education Officer, and as well as Mr. Hanura Kamba, who is 50 years, and he is the District Cow for Bugiri District, and these are actually arrested on these allegations of causing a 1.2 billion financial loss. And others are Mr. Paul Maseko, 56 years old, the District Production Officer, and Mr. Fred Ikaba, who is 54 years old, the District Engineer, and Mr. Muhammad Kyonda, who is 49 years old, and he is the District Planner, and these have actually been arrested. And the group was on Tuesday arraigned before the Anti-Corruption Court, presided over by Chief Magistrate Joan Achiro for plea taking. And this is something also we did see going on. And they denied the 3 counts of causing financial loss contrary to that is Section 20, subsection 1 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009, and one of the count of abatement of the offense of that is of causing financial loss contrary to the section that is 52C, that is of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009, and prosecutors from the Inspectorate of Government led by Ms. Sylvia Nabire and Mr. Ernest, that is Katio SJ, told the court that the inquiries in the matter are complete, thus that is seeking a hearing date. So I think that is something that we did see going on. And are they free? That is something also I did not know, and we are yet following up on that issue there. And according to the charge sheet, in the first count of causing financial loss, the prosecution states that Mr. Kazimiro that Mr. Kazimiro and Mr. Nyende and Mr. Waiswa between March of 2019 and December 2022 in Bugiri District Local Government really also employed as chief, that is COW, Chief Financial Officer and Senior Accountant, effectively regularly initiated and validated and approved payment of fixtures salary arrears amounting to, that is shillings 552, 174, 164 to various employees of Bugiri District Local Government, knowing or having reason to believe that their actions would cause financial loss to the government. And it is something that is something we are yet following up on. The prosecution further states that in count 2, that Mr. Kazimiro, Mr. Nyende, and Mr. Toine between March of 2019 and December 2022, being employed as COW, Chief Financial Officer and Senior Accounts Assistant, caused the financial loss of really that amount there. And really it is further alleged that in account 3, that Mr. Kazimiro and Mr. Nyende and Mr. Bazibu on March between, that is of 2019, of December 2022 caused financial loss. Also, we did see them going on with the cases there, and really, where will these cases go on? And the records further indicate that for one who was earning shillings 2 million, shillings 20 million would be deposited on their accounts, and immediately the owner would receive a call notifying them of X money, thus they need to be returned. That is something also we did see them ongoing there, but we expect justice for them when necessary, and if at all they will be able to solely be paraded before court. Maybe if they're innocent, we should expect them to be released, and that is something we are yet following up on, and we shall be able to let you know of maybe when the right time comes. That is something that we also really have to know of, because issues of financial losses have always been there. Even you realize that in Arua City recently, where we did have so many arrests, and some of these people have actually been returned to office, maybe because they were not found guilty. And really, if these ones are not found guilty, maybe we expect them to be also released. You realize most of these people actually in their 40s, 49, 50s. These are people who are approaching retirement age now. And really, that also may not be good for them, because at this time, if you are sent to prison as you are remaining days to retirement, just very, very few, that will be quite unfortunate, because after serving all this while with all that experience, and then you go to prison, that is really quite unfortunate. And we expect justice for them, And really, we also expect their lawyers to do enough when it comes to really also maybe defending them. That would also really be quite good, because if they're innocent, then there's no need for them to be arrested. Let them account. If they're arrested, then if they are guilty, that is also where we expect court to take its course, maybe in terms of sentencing these people to prison. That would also really be just enough. And then really, if at all that continues to go on, it would be prudent for them also to be maybe sentenced to prison, and that is one reason we must say we have to keep on following up on that. And as we are heading to the weekend, really I want to question people against betting, because you realize that during this period, betting tendencies tend to go very much high, and you really realize that so many people, students, more so the students, tend to put the monies into bettings, and really over 1,000 students are said to be dropping, that's out of Makerere University annually, over this vice of sports betting. This is according to information from the vice chairman, Nawangwe, Professor Nawangwe. So I think this is a great challenge, really. If you are sent to school, if your parents give you the money to go and deposit as tuition, there's no need for you to divert the money into sports betting where you're not sure of even winning. So I think that is where we must desist from tendencies of gambling, because the religious teachings also really prohibit and condemn gambling, because gambling is really a dangerous vice that is not really appreciated by this country, and that is one thing also we need to desist from. And at least 1,000 students drop out of Makerere University annually after losing tuition. That is sports betting. That is information from Barnabas Nawangwe, the vice chancellor really of Makerere University, who made this revelation recently. And Professor Nawangwe made the remarks on Tuesday while that is presiding over the recognition and awarding of that ceremony of College of Business and Management Studies, common abbreviated as COBAMS. That is where the 12 best performing graduates of 2024 were actually awarded. And Professor Nawangwe said they conducted research after revelation that the students drop out of the institution due to failure to pay the tuition, which they actually put into sports betting, which is really a great challenge now, because this could be costing them. And what does that really mean? It means that there's a lot that needs to be done when it comes to issues of sports betting, because all this will be able to cost, that is, the students who have to pay this money, and once they do not pay this money, and then it is quite unfortunate that they will not be able to also really earn themselves. Maybe also this could also cost them, and that is one thing I must say now. As students, we must desist from tendencies of sports betting. We're not sure of even winning. And in May 2023, Makerere University student that is self-kidnapped himself and cut off communication with parents and relatives and friends after he reportedly spent the money in sports betting. So he had to really also ensure that he self-kidnaps himself, so that maybe he would ask for ransom, which would also really be paid to them. And Augustine Sekajugod, and then second-year student of dental surgery, left his rented room, that is Makerere University at Chikoni, and went for hideout in Iganga district. And it was not until police investigations intensified the search where he was smoked out from his hideout, that is in Butama village, Nakalama sub-county in Iganga district. And an exhaustive search that led to his arrest in Iganga established that the victim turned suspect had rented a room where he was going to start coaching lessons. So I think that is something also we did see going on in that area there, where I want to now call upon the students to desist from this deadly vice that is really very, very much affecting, that's the students, more where we are saying over 1,000 students continue to drop out of the university, that is as a result of sports betting. That number is quite huge, and if every year these continue to drop out and without necessarily continuing, then definitely that tells us the betting vice is very, very much dangerous, because this is money you may waste your tuition on, and you may not be able to realize that money again, because usually we say money which is removed from tuition, recovering it is very, very high. For those who know where this hustle is, you will be able to side with me and understand that really removing money from tuition is really very, very hard, and it's a bad thing that we must not really engage in. And the rewarding ceremony was in partnership between Makerere University Economic Policy Research, that is a center, and the Association of Certified Accountants and Prudential Uganda, awarding the best graduates with cash prize, mentorship and graduate training scholarships for students to enroll for CPA. That is where we did see this going on, and it was something I must say is quite commendable, and something that we must also really embrace, because if at all we would not embrace them, then definitely we may also continue to lag behind in terms of these issues here. And moving away from that, Chigundu recounts pressures of chairing the election body, and really you will be able to realize, if somebody can maybe remember Engineer Badru Chigundu, who was then Electoral Commission chairperson, you will be able to realize that he had a experience really also maybe through guiding that, and he says his experience, and he says of pressure, he talks of pressure while chairing the election board, and I must understand that now that is a hot seat where it is a no-go zone, where if you move anyhowly, you may not be able to realize your success, maybe in terms of also ensuring that the exercise is very transparent, where if this office is given to you, you must stand still, you must always stand firm in terms of maybe your decisions. And the former Electoral Commission chairperson who presided over 3 consecutive elections and really presidential elections has revealed that initial inexperience and use of manual voters register challenged election management, and that is something really we did see going on there. And President Museveni tapped Dr. Badu Chigun from academia, that's in 2002, and he superintended the country's poll for the 14 years. Really also we did see that going on. That is right from 2002 up to 2016, and he's presently a senior presidential advisor. Really also we are now seeing him serving at. And in a book title that's Stepping into the Unknown, he discloses his team's first baptism of fire that was organized to organize a by-election, the 7th Western Cavalry District, within 10 days upon assuming office. Also, we did see that going on there, and really he has shared his experience while serving the EC there as the chairperson, and pulling off the assignment still adds confidence in the team and provide a problem-solving template on which the commissioner inscribes themselves in the midwives, that's with mantra of delivering health babies. So I think that's something we did see him going on and really also doing the diligent. And the goal that the new AC set for itself was in the subsequent ballots, that is for place in the dock where it successfully defended the results, that is for 2006 and 2016 presidential elections, while the outcome of 2011 ended in the protracted walk-to-work process. That is something we did see there, but you will remember that Dr. Chigundu, while detailing a future resolution of the problem through a deployment of super-level technology, does not, however, explore the impact of questionable manual voters registrar on the conduct and outcome of the general elections. That is something we are seeing on going in there, and somebody may be able to also remember who exactly he is. That is one thing that we shall be able to remember him for, and I must say there's a lot that we need to do towards that. And justice, however, concluded the impact of the malpractice on final outcome on the poll that is not substantial enough, the threshold set under Uganda's law to warrant an annulment, and that is also something we are seeing here now. And after being served, that is similar after being served similar verdicts twice by the country's highest court, Dr. Besigye said he would never challenge the disputed ballot outcome in the court again, choosing in the aftermath for the 2011 elections to take his case to what he called the court of public opinion. And that is something where we did see this going on. And really, these elections mean a lot, and that is one thing also really maybe somebody could not be able to have trust in them, and that is one thing also really where the candidates are dissatisfied. If you're dissatisfied in these elections, usually we say you can run to court and appeal, and after you appeal, then court can also go on and decide on what exactly to do. We have seen by elections coming up where the elections may be the quality, maybe in terms of voter rigging, maybe allegations of bribery are there. We have seen also these by-elections going on and the elections being nullified. What does that mean? That definitely tells us that we have to do a lot in the forthcoming exercise. And then NRM already restructuring ahead of time. We have seen them actually kicking off today with that is the verification exercise, and that is to update the registrar. That is for the yellow book, and for those who may not get the yellow card, you may not be able to be considered a member, and you may not also really have the party's card. So I think that is why you must ensure that you participate in that. If at all you are a member of that party, then that would also really be quite good for you there. And that is why I want to call upon each and everybody to really also ensure that we have to also really be part of that. And really moving away from that, recently we did see also the Mufti, that is of Zimbabwe, Mufti Menk, coming to the country. And what was his message? He actually called upon Ugandans to love their country. And now with the Ramadan period, where love is preached, definitely we must also really love our neighbors too. And we must also love our country, we must love our neighbors, we must love everybody within this period here, because this is a month of holiness and where we must cherish and love everybody. And also the Christians are within the Lent period, where we also expect them now to love also the fellows. They must also love the Muslims, and we must love each other, because without love, we may not be able to have that peaceful coexistence. And without the peaceful coexistence, there's no development, because something that we want to do in a good faith may not be able to take taken very well, maybe by the neighbor who is not really also in good terms with you. And celebrated Muslim scholar, that's Mufti Ismail Menk, has challenged Muslims, that is to always speak well about their country and live in harmony and use social media for the good cause of society. So I think that is something also really we did see going on, and there the Zimbabwe scholar who addressed the huge crowds of Muslim faithfuls comprising students, the business community and academics, and also made this remark while he cautioned that the citizens again speaking about ill about their nation, and which does not really contribute to the development. So I think that is something we did see going on. and the crowd that attracted packed the Makerere University rugby grounds, braved the afternoon downpour, and really also we did see that going on, where we did see so many things happening, and where we did see so many people coming up, and really that is an event that really I want to now also question people to also ensure that they talk towards, because if the misuse of social media, in most cases we have realized that people misuse social media. One of the aspect of social media move to make urge the Muslim faithfuls to use the platform for the good cause, and really also he asked people to use TikTok well. And you remember, TikTok now is where people have a lot of issues where they can actually tend to misuse the TikTok very well, and yet if we use the TikTok very well, that would also really be able to maybe generate foreign income in terms of tourism. And if at all we use the social media very well, trust me, we will be able to attract, that is maybe tourists to come to our country. That would also really generate money for us, because for our country, and the government may not also really want to now waste a lot of monies that is in advertisement. And we could actually use our social media to really also sell the country, and once we sell the country, definitely we will be able to also see development. And remember, when he landed the country, he actually spoke about the development that he had witnessed in the country right from Entebbe, and he said the last time he was here, and then this time round there's great change, and really we have to embrace that. And then that change does not really come about just like that. Then it means that really so many strategies so many people are playing the role in terms of the changes that we are seeing. It means that you as a taxpayer, your money is now being put into proper use, and that means that really you are doing a great job in terms of paying your tax dues. So I think that is why you must desist from tendencies of that smuggling, because if you continue to engage in smuggling, and then definitely we may not be able to see our country achieve that development strategy that we wanted to do so, because with smuggling, then definitely we may not be able to see development, because smuggling also causes illicit financial flows that we did talk about earlier on here, that also will not be quite good. So I think that is something that we want now preach, and I want to now extend my message on love for existing movement, urge the Muslims to love Allah above all, and he said one could not really succeed when he or she does not love the Creator, and that is why we must ensure that we love our God. And during this time round, we have to ensure that we have total repentance, and that is one reason also as Muslims, as Christians, during this holy month here, we have to ensure that we repent back, because really we have to ensure that we have to repent during this period here. And remember, this is March, it is also the month of women, where we did have the Women's Day celebrations a few days ago, and really I must say this month that tells us that really we are still going on, and this is still the month of that women, and this is where we celebrate and cherish women. And Masakari is a Pads Factory to give hope to women, and really sometimes our girl child and the women go through a lot where with the issues of pads, which is quite inaccessible for them, and you realize they go through a lot of challenges. And the section of vulnerable women in Masaka City have a reason to smile after being employed at a local factory producing reusable pads, and that is something also really we are seeing now also going on there, since we are celebrating women. And the beneficiaries who can that's constitute 95% of the workforce, all at the factory are located, that is in Nyendo Mukungwe municipality, engaged in different activities including assembling raw materials, sewing machines, and really also quality assurance and management. That is where we are seeing them actually being employed. And Mr. Dunstan Tugume, the FR pad factory manager, said the recruitment focuses on committed but vulnerable women to be able to enable themselves transform that in their lives of economy. So I think that is something we are seeing ongoing there, and we expect them to actually now be involved, because this year's the Women's Day celebration actually called for inclusivity of the women, and now these ones are being employed. That is quite commendable. Now we also want to maybe encourage other people also out there when they're establishing factories, let them ensure that they also really take care of these women, and they also incorporate these women into the establishment of the factory. That would also really be quite good. And this year's International Women's Day commemoration was in Katagui District under the theme Accelerating Gender Equality Through Women's Economic Empowerment, and this is where we are seeing them happening in line to that. And Miss Judith Nasaka, the factory's chief technician, said she joined the company, that is in 2009, as a casual laborer after being chased by her husband for giving birth for a child that was with cerebral palsy disability. And this is actually a challenge that most women go through a lot today, because men do not really also want to see that these children that they are giving birth to do not have challenges. And that is where we have seen sometimes men chasing these women out of their homes, where we have also seen them getting married to other men and other women. This is where it is quite unfortunate, and really for a child to be born with disabled, that is quite unfortunate. It is not really somebody's will, it is not somebody's call, but rather it is God's decision. So I think that is one thing also we want to caution upon people, to really also desist from these tendencies. And Ms. May Nabwami, the factory's finishing manager, said after failing to join the university due to financial constraints in 2011, the administration experience she encountered at that time drove her passion to accept the work she currently does. So I think that is also where we are seeing now these people actually now earning themselves monies and really being catered into everything, because really we realize that so many of these ladies out there may not be able to afford these pads, and that is why issues of teenage pregnancy is still very much high, because sometimes it is the boy child that actually provides for these pads to the girls. And really, as the parents, you do not have to do not mind about giving these girls money. You do not give them the money. Where do you expect them to get the money when they need these pads? That is why they resort to these early marriages, more so with this early pregnancy that comes about. And this is where the boys actually take advantage of them, because it becomes a tit for that game. I give you the money, and then you for buying the pads, and then you give me. So that is why we have seen it very, very quite unfortunate. That's why I want to call upon parents. Let's ensure that we are very close to our girls, and then when they need the pads, we have to ensure that we give them, so that these tendencies of early boys, these boys taking advantage of them, is avoided, so that they do not also really want monies from men. So men's social management has long presented challenges to girls and women in Uganda due to the taboos attached to it. And in men to low-income settings, the country's menstrual hygiene accounts for the biggest percentage of absenteeism among girls in schools. Yes, we know that some of the girls, once they're experiencing their menstrual cycles, they do not go to school because they do not have the pads. And sometimes you realize that recently we did see how girls were making sanitary pads out of sand, really put in soil, put in sand, and really tied together with clothes, which was really quite unfortunate, because that is very, a practice that is very unhygienic, which would also really come with its own negative repercussions. And really that does summarize our discussion in relation to the pads. And we want to run for a short commercial break, and once we bounce back, we shall be able to continue with other topics until the hour of 9 a.m. And then after time, we'll be able to come through with the news bulletin liberty. For now, let's first have this commercial break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
done now! AFCON, all 52 games live only on Star Times! Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back. We are still continuing with the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile Television. You're most welcome. That's from the short commercial break in case you started watching us right from the time we began until this hour of the morning. I want to say it's a great pleasure having you on board, and really we are here to continue with the discussions. And the U.S. Treasury has levied sanctions, that is on 16 individuals and entities across Horn of Africa and the Middle East, accusing them of laundering money for the Al-Shabaab Islamist militant groups. And that is something we are seeing here on the national and international scene now. The Treasury said the expensive business network was part of the international fundraising and the money laundering web for the Al-Qaeda group operating in Somalia and designated terrorist organization by the Washington. So I think that's also something we did see going on, and really where we did see the UAE-based Kaimet Al-Najjar General Trading, which served as an important money laundering probe. That is also something known in the network as Kenyan bus company that supported Al-Shabaab's logistics. We are also slapped with sanctions. We did see this going on. And the funds were distributed worldwide, including the other Al-Qaeda linked groups, also where we did see this going on. And really we are saying what is happening, and then because really these countries continue to raise challenges when it comes to these Islamist groups that have always posted challenges, and you realize that so many of these have a lot to do when it comes to these issues here. And the funds were distributed worldwide, including the Al-Qaeda linked groups, to sow discord and undermine good governance. That is also something that the leaders there have said. And Al-Shabaab has been waging blood insurgents, that is against the UN-backed government in Mogadishu, for more than 16 years now. And these are challenges that have actually been terrorizing that area. And remember, this country of Somalia has been destabilized, and with this, so many challenges are being said, and that definitely must be causing the security of that area. Although the militants were driven out of the capital by the AU, they retain a strong presence that is in the rural Somalia and regularly carry out attacks against political and civilian targets, including Mogadishu. And you realize recently we did also see some of our soldiers actually losing their lives there after the attack by the Al-Shabaab groups. Really, these are challenges where we did see actually one of the sons that is of soil from Arua here actually who lost his life. And really, these are actually as a result of these Islamist attacks by the Al-Shabaabs, which continue to go on. And that definitely tells us that that country is yet suffering from tendencies of insecurity, which is also really posing a great challenge. And now that calls for each people to now work together, because issues of insecurity really was not addressed. And then definitely it calls for a lot of issues really for where people have to work together, such that these tendencies are addressed. Because once they are not addressed, then definitely we may not realize the issues of peace and stability in that area there, because if that is not the case, then what exactly needs to be done? That is a question we are now asking ourselves now. And the central government launched a major offensive against that is an Islamist group that is in August of 2022, joining forces with the local clan militias. But the offensive has suffered setbacks despite early gains. And this is something also we did see going on there. Now moving to Sudan, you'll be able to realize that so many things also going on in that area there, in the areas of Khartoum, where the headquarters of Ndurman across the Nile from Khartoum and other parts, why the capital have been captured, and there is no immediate comment from the RSF. And as they have surrounded, that is the media, where the radio of the national radio and the national television have been surrounded, that is by these militant groups. And Sudan's army said in a statement on Tuesday that it took, that is, control of the national radio and television headquarters, that is from the paramilitary rapid support forces. And And what does that mean? That means that the headquarters lies in Omdurman, across the Nile from Khartoum, and part of South Sudan's wider capital have now been captured. And there was no immediate comment from the RSF about war between Sudan's army and the RSF that's erupted in the mid of April 2023, and amid tensions over a plan for transition of civilian rule. This is where we did see this also going on in that area there. Now we are asking ourselves, when will this war come to an end? Because these wars have actually caused a number of people losing their lives, a lot of property being destroyed. People have been forced into exile. You realize that today we have refugees in West Nile sub-region who came from Sudan, and this is actually as a result of the war that was in their area, and now they are being forced into refuge. They are living in a country that does not belong to them, where the kind of life is not that well, where they are really suffering through a lot, where the challenges that they also go through may be very, very much bad. Now what does that call for? It really tells us that there is a lot that needs to be done in terms of maybe ensuring that the stability in African countries. Most of these African countries today actually lack, that is the component of peace and stability, which now calls for them to actually work together now in terms of ensuring that maybe the government, because you realize that some of these governments actually came into power through means that were not as a result of voting, and that is why you realize that most of these countries in West Africa today are being destabilized. That is through the coups and then attacks here and there, so many other things that are not quite good. So I think all this really, at the end of the day, cost, that is the final citizens who is there to oversee what is happening, who is actually the most vulnerable, where they are actually forced into exile to go into countries that do not belong to them, which at the end of the day, to me, really costs them a lot. And the two factions staged, that is a coup in 2021, that derailed a previous transition following the 2019 overthrow of the autocratic former leader, that is Omar al-Bashir. Now that's something we did see going on there, and that really tells us there's now a lot more that needs to be done in line to that. And really, are we going to be seeing maybe a democratic government that they want, the civilian democratic government that as they want? Is the RSF going to give into this? That is something we yet want to understand, because we may say that really they have captured. What about them also wanting to recapture back their areas? That's another thing that we are seeing here. And who exactly is to suffer? Then definitely, if two elephants are fighting, usually we say it is the grass that suffers. Definitely the citizens of that area there are going to be the ones to suffer as a result of this war here. And then that really calls also for a lot when it comes to these issues of now these tendencies that we are talking about. If at all we are to address, maybe also see to it that these are avoided, and really that would also really also see it happening very, very good there. So I think that is where we summarize our discussion with, and really we want to summarize all the discussion with sports now. Yesterday we did have sports games. Really, I will be able to pick some few results also to let you know of what is happening in line to that. Yesterday we did have a game in the regional league. Really somebody may be able to ask themselves maybe which some of the games that did go on there. We did see that is a game between Pakwach and Nyahama, which ended, that is in 2-0. That is in favor of, that is Pakwach Youngsters, who did beat Nyahama there. Also, that game also did go on there, where we did also see it. And then we also had the game that's in the English Premier League, where we did see Bull losing, that is to UPDF. A 0-0, where this was actually at the home of Bull, that's in Ginger. Really something that many people did not actually believe in, as they thought that this could not happen the way it did go on. But this is soccer, where there's a win there, where there's a lose. And then that is the option also for the draw comes in, because if out of the three nothing happens, and then definitely that was no game where we expect either a draw, it's either a draw or a win, or else it is a lose, where we did see this happening. And this is a game where anybody can win, because football is football, where anybody can actually win. And that is where people were shocked. I must say, very much were shocked as a Bull lost, that is to UPDF there, because they are looking at Bull as one of the title contenders right now. But really, they did go on to lose that game there. Now, what does that mean? It means that they have dropped points, and then Vipers will also really now pose a challenge, as KC also really is now very much strategizing, also really strengthening itself, because you realize that the game started very poor for them. The season started on a bad note for them, but now we are seeing them actually restructuring. Now that is also going to be maybe adding pressure onto the teams there. And also yesterday, one of the exciting games that really did go on, that is in the English Premier League, where we did realize also Arsenal really going on to beat, that is FC Porto, in penalties there. Remember the first leg, Arsenal did lose, that is to Porto, and now Arsenal advances past that is to the quarterfinals now, after spending nearly 14 years now under the management of Arteta. Now we are seeing the team actually are progressing to the next level now after spending close to 14 years, really, where we did see this young team, which many people did not really expect to go past that stage, really, where we did see this game actually going past extra time and heading up to penalties, where it ended 4-2 in favor of Arsenal. And really, what does this mean? Are we seeing Arsenal now winning the trophy? Because you realize in the last editions, where teams who actually eliminated Porto out of that round of 16 did go on to win the trophy. Is it going to apply to Arsenal at the same time? That is also something that maybe as the viewer I want to ask you now. You may also really share your opinion with us and let us know of maybe exactly what could also really go on there. And remember, this is a game, this Champions League, it's a game of men. And yesterday we did have that game going on there. And yes, we also had another game which did go on, that is between Barcelona and Napoli, which ended 4-2. And Barcelona did go on to beat Napoli, that is 3-1. And really, that is also really another game that we did see on going on now. Now the draws for the quarterfinals are also out. Are we going to be seeing these teams, proceeding past the group stage, the quarterfinals? That is something that we do not know, as we shall be able to keep you updated of maybe some of the games that could be able to come in the next days. And this is a game, I must say, really where we did see maybe Arsenal fans, where we did see it becoming very, very exciting, where at night you could really hear a lot of noise in the city. And really so many, that means that there was a lot of excitement among these supporters of Arsenal. Really, that is where we also want to summarize our discussions in relation to sports. And really, we shall be able to keep you updated of what is maybe happening in the next stages. And really, that also really brings us to the close of today's discussions. As up next, as you can see on your screens, we shall be having a news bulletin in Lubarati with Fete Emmanuel. That is every hours. That is from 9 a.m. up to the hour of 10. This is where the news bulletin comes in every Mondays to Saturdays, where they give you the news bulletin in Lubarati. That is where the people who understand the language, you must always be part of the show there. And that is why also at midday, for the Lulu-speaking community, you also catered for. The Lembangea will also really be coming through with, that is a chamber of faith, also to give you what is happening in the world of news there, as well as English. It will also be coming through that at 7 p.m. with the Kokoliriko Christian. For that, really with that, we come to a close of today's discussion. In a special way, I want to appreciate each and everybody watching us, maybe who watch us right from the time we began until the close of this time. That really should not also be a reason for you to bow out, because the news bulletin in Lubarati is coming up next, and really you could also really maybe watch and get yourselves understand what is happening in there. With that, really, we come to a close of today's edition. I will be able to bounce back. That is tomorrow for the Thursday edition of the Kokoliriko Live Show. Thank you so much.